Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We had two items that were to be announced out of our closed session. One item was on the reinstatement of EH 2122-36 by a vote of 5-1 with Doug Criddle absent. The board approved that reinstatement. And the second item has to do with the appointment of a vice principal at Edgewater. By a consensus by the board directed the superintendent to move forward with that employment. Now we have comments from the board. Jeff Boone?
Welcome, everybody. I asked Dr. Asrani to give us an update on vaccinated versus unvaccinated testing. I'm getting a lot of questions. Being the CDC guidelines have changed, so I brought that question forward for her to clarify it for us.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Dr. Simon to please respond.
I'm already short, and this chair makes me a lot shorter, so we're gonna figure out how to fix that eventually, but that's okay. Sorry about that. So I have some info for the board I'll hand out. It's just information from the CDPH. The California Department of Public Health did an order back in August of 2021, beginning of last school year. We checked today, and per CDPH today, that order is still in effect. On the last page of the order, page 3, Roman numeral 3, it talks about that asymptomatic, unvaccinated, or incompletely vaccinated workers are required to undergo screening testing weekly. So that order that was in effect last year still stands, and we double check that through our risk manager, Ms. Wells, today as well.
Does that answer your question? Frank Crawford?
Thank you.
Ms. Hasty?
I'd like to take a moment to say thank you to King Clothing for their donation of the shirts that are in the agenda, and welcome to all of you. Thank you.
Gary Criddle?
Welcome, everybody. I think that was the best flag salute I've ever heard. You guys are very vocal, so thank you. Actually, my thoughts and prayers are with the family with Cedar Lane who lost a child over the weekend. Very tragic. That hit me close to home. I got a 4-year-old myself. Tragedy completely could have been avoided. I don't know the circumstances, but they're in my thoughts right now. Thank you.
Randy Rasmussen?
I would like to reiterate that saying thank you to all of our teachers and our staff that are working their tails off to make sure that we're being able to educate all of your children. And I know they're doing a fantastic job, and it's a very tough job, but thank you for all that you're doing, all staff, all of our administrators. And again, thank you.
Thank you. The one comment I have on the COVID is the reality is it's here. And if you look at the updates that we get almost every week from the health departments, we're not at zero as infection rates. We're above zero by quite a bit. So just be aware that the CDC has given us their best advice, and we're following that advice as closely as we can. But you've got to understand that COVID is here, and we have to work with it. So thank you for your indulgence as we work through this. Now we have comments from school site representatives from the high school. Do we have anybody from Marysville High tonight?
1 second.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brighton. I serve as the Marysville High School ASB Vice President. This evening, I'll be addressing the board regarding the recent exciting activity at MHS. Starting off, Marysville High School has had an amazing start of the school year. ASB has been hard at work, making great changes in school culture and activity. ASB is being led by the inclusiveness and positivity by our ASB President, Caden Ellison. We have a brand new activities director, Mrs. Amberly Greminger. She has worked incredibly hard to provide guidance, support, education, and a new structure to our new full ASB team. On behalf of the students, we greatly appreciate her. Last Friday, we honored the beginning of the semester with an extremely successful back-to-school rally. We created a rally students wouldn't forget by sliming our new awesome administration team based on trivia questions regarding Marysville High School. This rally is, in my opinion, the best we've ever seen at MHS, with better to come in the future. MHS has also had a total of, I believe, 17 new staff members, including Taylor Bisbee, Tisha Tallman, Rose Everhart, Jennifer Thornton, Alicia Zermeno, Alicia Wiggins, Alex Nissen, Patricia Mills, Amanda Morris, Gina Schuler, Carol Wood, and Naki Vang, including our new administration team. We welcome them to the Marysville High School family. Additionally, Student Council has now started accepting applications. FFA has had a booming start with a new chapter board and a welcome back to school sort of kindness event that they did on the first day. I thank you all for taking your time to listen, and I hope you appreciate the update. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have a representative from Lyndhurst?
Good afternoon. My name is Norberto Montero, and I'm the student board representative of Lyndhurst High School. I would like to go over some of the successes and upcoming events Lyndhurst has planned for the coming month. Starting off our school year with freshman orientation was a big success. Students and families were able to learn more about Lyndhurst High School, which included a student-led tour by leadership and a presentation from our new principal, Chris Schmidt. We are also proud of our new courses, which aligns itself with our goals and our CTE program, which is to prepare our students for vocational successes upon high school graduation. Some of these new courses include a new CNA course and fire science in collaboration with South Lyndhurst. We have also seen an increase in our CTE program with a significant increase in students enrolling in elective courses. Not only has this increased, but so has student athletic participation with a staggering participation number compared to the 2021 through 2022 school year. Lyndhurst High has also added new A through G courses for emerging bilingual students under the guidance of our newly minted assistant principal, Ms. Arroyo Magana. As for club events, the OH Culture Club will be selling miscellaneous flowers of the month, while the football club will be accepting donations. Our Sports Med Club will be holding a candy fundraiser, which will be held and sold after school. As for our FFA Club, on September 30th, they will be at the Yuba-Sutter Fairgrounds helping fifth graders learn about agriculture. There will also be a project competition at the fairgrounds where students who have raised livestock animals are able to compete against other animal raisers about their knowledge about their SAE projects. And on October 22nd, FFA will hold their yearly pumpkin festival at the Lyndhurst Farm. There will be hay rides, face paintings, mini carnival games, and pumpkins for sale. Our ASB and leadership have also worked hard to figure out a theme for our upcoming homecoming dance, which will be held on September 16th, and our theme will be constellations. Lyndhurst will be hosting their back-to-school night this Thursday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., and due to a shortage of referees, we will also have a home football game against Oroville at 5 p.m. and a home volleyball game against Mesa Verde at 5 p.m. as well. I'd like to encourage everyone to come out and enjoy these upcoming events. And with that, I'd like to thank everyone for their time.
Thank you very much. Now we have recognitions. MCAA, do we have representatives? Sorry.
Hello, good evening. My name is Hope Cross. I'm the ASB president of Marysville Charter Academy for the Arts. Many of our leadership students were able to attend the Leader in Me training on August 8th. Everyone was very thankful for the incredible learning opportunity to improve themselves as leaders. Shortly after that, on August 9th, we held our new student orientation. This year, the leadership students were heavily involved. We gave the new students a tour of the campus and helped them to feel comfortable through different kinds of icebreaker activities. This week is Spirit Week. Yesterday was Pajama Day, today was Tie-Dye Day, tomorrow is Fandom Day, Thursday is Anything But a Backpack Day, and Friday is Beach Day. The Spirit Week leads up to our Back to School dance this Friday, August 26th, from 7 to 10 p.m. This dance theme is Beach Party and will be held in the quad at MCAA. MCAA hosts a variety of clubs. During our club fair this Thursday and Friday, clubs will get the chance to advertise themselves and recruit new members. Our school's first production will be Starflight on the 15th of September. Starflight is a collection of unique performances as it only showcases student-written works. The whole event will be fun and entertaining, and I encourage you all to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we move to recognitions. Okay, the board will line up in front.
Okay, first we have Mr. Jim Waltz. Oh, let me read it here. Sorry. Mr. Waltz here, for your craftsmanship, skill and involvement in building new tables for the USD boardroom while instructing the construction program at Lyndhurst High School, which is what you can see here. He did this with his students to make the boardroom look so fantastic. So thank you very much. And then following, Vivian Jimenez Lopez for the same program. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Osrani and the Board of Trustees. My name is Jolie Critchfield, and I am the new Director of Child Development. I was going to do this award for our Student Attendance Review Board in recognition in June, but I got ill. So we are doing it now, and so I have Dr. Ravelis also that is here tonight in recognizing our SARB board members. So just a little bit of background history of what SARB is. Students who are chronically truant, if the school can't resolve the issue, they get referred to our Student Attendance Review Board. And in the past, it used to be a little bit of a negative experience for families. But in 2013, our juvenile court, Judge Givens, joined SARB to help create a positive and efficient process to connect families struggling with chronic attendance issues to a county-wide system of support. With the help of community agencies such as Probation, Jim Arnold, Health and Human Services, Jennifer Vasquez, Yuba-Sutter Behavioral Health, Darren Whitaker, Marysville Joint Unified School District, and Yuba County Office of Education, we restructured SARB from a mindset from punitive and deficit-based approach to a restorative, strengths-based outlook that engages families and empowers them to make school a priority. With SARB, we really understand our why. If students do not get the quality education they deserve, they will not have the skill set to make choices about their future and perpetuating a cycle of regret later in their lives. We know that when students are missing a lot of school and become truant, the root cause must be addressed. Some may include transportation, school social issues, anxiety, medical issues, lack of stable housing within the family, domestic issues in the home, death of a relative, etc. SARB connects families to services immediately with the members on the board able to give them a warm handoff to these services. So with that, I'd like to, before we give the awards, just hand it over to Dr. Ravelis.
Thank you, Jolie. Members of the board, you all know me. My respect to President Davies, members of the board, certainly to Ms. Hasty, former Yuba County Board of, Board of Supervisor, I almost said, Board of Education, and certainly to Dr. Asrani. Thank you. Extend my respect to all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, nowadays we live in what we call a culture of evidence. I think you will agree. All the perfect storms we've been through. And as agencies are struggling, indeed, really making an effort to rebuild confidence, rebuild faith, this is one effort, the SARB, that has, I believe, achieved that consistently. I've been a part of a number of SARBs throughout the state. This is one of the most effective ones, and certainly being, where's Ms. Jolie here, quite a facilitator of that success also, but certainly all the members. You know, one of the sayings I have to county office is, no one is as smart as all of us, and this is a good case in point. All the members that serve on the SARB board have unbelievable expertise, but more importantly, they care for the students. And that synergy, when it comes together, you see it operationalized on the SARB and in their efforts. And we're talking about children who are growing up in at-risk conditions, not necessarily at-risk kids, but in at-risk conditions. This is something it needs to be recognized, and I'm sure we do recognize it. We're doing that tonight. But it's really a good model for what can be and what is really good in this community. So SARB has my respect. Extend my respect to you and certainly to Jolie as well. So Jolie, let me go and turn it back over to you.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and call up, we have Judge Deborah Givens. He's not here tonight, but our district attorney, Clint Curry. Kendra, if you want to go and shake the board's hand, Judge Givens. Kendra Smith isn't here. She's with Behavioral Health. Andrea Sanchez with Yuba County Social Supervisor. Jason Roper. We have Chuck Yang, Social Worker Supervisor from Child and Adult Protective Services. We have Eric Runge here from Victim Witness Program Manager. And he brought his dog Ruger. He can go up there with you. Heather Wolf, which is also from Probation. So Probation funds 100% our truant officer, which is Heather Wolf. And then we have from Marysville Police, and I don't think he's with us tonight, is Officer Littlefield. From the Sheriff's Department, we have Deputy LaRue. From Yuba County, is Deputy here? Oh, he came! Deputy LaRue, I didn't see you when you weren't with your uniform on, so, and even wore his SARB shirt. Yuba County made these for us, so I had to wear mine tonight, even though I'm no longer. Yay, I'm glad you're here. So that's Deputy Chris LaRue. Caitlin Patterson from Yuba County Office of Education. There's Ruger. Cheryl Scotton is our school nurse from Marysville Joint Unified School District. Cheryl Scotton, come on down. And then we have Judy Hart, which is our parent advocate. She is also a retired principal for Marysville Joint, so she's a great advocate for our families and helping them get connected to school. We have Amanda Book, who's through the homeless. She's a homeless advocate with our Marysville Joint. And the glue that holds it all together, the most important person, as we know, is the SARB secretary, Giselle Fiera from Marysville Joint Unified School District. So thank you so much tonight for these, and if we can get a picture too with our SARB board, thank you guys so much for supporting this process and supporting our families. Thank you. Yep.
And then we might need to go into 2 rows so we can get the whole group in.
Yeah, so our Linda Lions Club is here tonight. We had a recent meeting, and Dr. Asrani said, hey, this story has got to be shared with the board. So the reason we're here in our vest, we have Dr. Asrani, we have Randy, Linda Lions Club, we have the Van Dorens, Tom and Diana, we have Grant Harrison, Carol Nicholson, we have Chung Yang, and his brother too couldn't be here, but was heading there. We have Nancy and Juan Bareilles, but they brought Elvira, so she attends Johnson Park, and so we're really happy Elvira is here. Yes, and so we were excited because it's the first time in a couple years we got to go back to Edgewater. We have a tradition of making root beer floats, usually a couple of hundred root beer floats, and then the school kickoff days got busy, so it turned into 400. This year we did 600 root beer floats in just over 2 hours. That was a wall of ice cream flying in every direction, and the staff was super helpful. Just really helped push it through. And then while we were sitting there, principal was talking to Tom and saying, we're really stuck for bicycle helmets, and really would be great if we could see something in the way of helping for that. And Tom went right back to our Habitat Restore, scraped up 18 brand new bicycle helmets, and so Lions Club was able to purchase those and get them right back. And so we do Cedar Lane activities at the Christmas holiday periods. We've done a number of schools in the area that call and ask for something from Linda Lions. It's one of our primary activities. We've given out hundreds of eyewear for kids getting their eyes checked, as well as their eyeglasses. So yeah, Linda Lions Club is very happy to respond and be here tonight. Great to see you guys rested up.
So I guess, you want to read the names or want me, John?
Well, you might know this one. Val, this one's for you.
Have you back up just a little bit? Yeah, you've got a little room behind you. Perfect. Tillman? Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Thank you.
Now we have opportunity for employee organizations to address the board, Marysville Union Teachers Association.
Backwards.
Backwards would be kind of cool.
One, 2, 3. Why isn't it doing it that way? There we go.
Thank you, Russell. Sorry, I'm pretty sure that there was something in whatever I was doing earlier to this presentation, so thanks for fixing it. So Angela Stiegel, President for the Marysville Unified Teachers Association, and I wanted to address the board this evening, and I was really hoping that my remarks this evening were going to be short and sweet and pretty much along the lines of, yay, we're back in school and everything is hunky-dory and have a good night. Peace out, as my students say. That's what I was hoping. Unfortunately, it has not worked out that way. And so now I am in the unenviable position of having to share some information with the board and not just ask, but implore the board to help your teachers and, more importantly, help your students and help your communities that they're a part of. I'm assuming that the board knows some of this information, but just to kind of get us all focused in on a few pieces of info, our unduplicated pupil percentage, and this will all bear out. If you bear with me, this will all bear out soon. Our unduplicated pupil percentage is somewhere around 74 to 80%, depending on exactly which page of our LCAP you're looking at. And as a reminder, our unduplicated pupils, those are our high needs students. And with this, and the fact that we have a historic education budget within the state budget, that equals unprecedented funding to schools. And so just as another reminder to you and to anybody else who is within earshot of this, COLA is 6.56 plus an augmentation of almost the same amount, which means 12.84% to base grant ADA over last school year. And so that's an $8 million increase to our district in LCFF funds alone. And if you would like me to send you screenshots of exactly where that math comes from and what pages out of our LCAP and previous board presentations that's from, I can certainly do that for you. And so speaking of our LCAP, just a couple quick little pieces of info out of our LCAP. So in regards to our reflections and our identified need, which is on page 20 of our LCAP for this year, the district's community survey identifies the following areas as the top 4 challenges for our schools. 1, recruiting and retaining high-quality teachers at 37%. And then after that, providing a safe and orderly environment, and then offering challenging instructional programs and expanding communication and community involvement. Furthermore, I believe just a little bit down that same page, we're told that the areas for growth for MJUSD are academic achievement, environmental conditions of learning, support for student engagement, and it continues on. Also, another piece of information that I'm sure you're well aware of, but it fits in with the current topic here. MJUSD, in partnership with our staff, students, their families, and the community, will provide each student with the most appropriate educational opportunities in a safe environment. This is our MJUSD mission statement. I see it repeatedly every day of my life. It's prominent on our website and all, so that's why I'm sure that you have all seen it. But then we start to have some questions because now we're talking about appropriate educational opportunities, and are they really? Speaking on just one particular issue here, the involuntary transfers and reassignments after the school year started this year are wreaking havoc on our students, beyond our teachers, and their learning environment and their academic success. We had 3 involuntary transfers and reassignments in the first few days of school, which even at 3 in the first few days of school is more than we typically have in this district. I can recall a year where we had 2 that were a couple of days before school started, but having 3 after school started is a little unusual for us. However, MUTA and even the teachers involved said, well, you know, 3 still is not completely outlandish. And then today hit. And now today, we have an additional 10 more involuntary transfers and reassignments. Looks like so. So this is what is happening to our students and their families and our teachers as we speak. This came out this afternoon. And so instead of simply adding a few classes that were desperately needed in a few situations, including Arboga and Edgewater and Cedar Lane, instead of doing that, we added classes so that we could take away classes. And so this is what went out to my members this afternoon. This is what came to me this afternoon. And I'm told that part of the reason for this is the unprecedented enrollment in the district. So going by their data, which just to give you all a heads up, here's the enrollment data, packet upon packet, enrollment data from Thursday until now. This represents at least 1, if not 2 interruptions to my class every single day, despite the fact that I use Aries, as I'm told, every single day. I have to have 2 class disruptions for this. And then, this data isn't even 100% accurate. I know because I called the teachers up and I asked them. And so based on that inaccurate information and the inaccurate information about our unprecedented enrollment, which, by the way, I'm told is 10,188 students, unprecedented. Okay, I looked up DataQuest on CDE, and last year we were at 10,103. The year before was a little rough. That was our COVID year where we were at 9,930. Year before that, 2019, 2020, we had 10,152. And the year before that, in 2018-19, we had 10,153. So I'm not sure about the unprecedented enrollment. I mean, granted, I will tell you right now, I'm sure as board members, I'm sure as our superintendent and cabinet, they're glad that the number isn't smaller because we have districts all over the place that are hollering about, declining enrollment, and luckily we're not there. But we might as well be for having 14 transfers, involuntary transfers and reassignments since school started. And then we have this piece of information to go along with it. We have combos galore. We have one site where we have, I believe it's a 4-5 combo and then a 5-6 combo. That makes sense. And so we have at least 14 combo classes in our schools right now, and that's excluding our small schools. That's leaving out, Cordova and Dobbins and Yuba-Sutter, Loma Rica even. So we've got 14 of those right now. And I'm also told that's totally normal. Well, there again, looking at DataQuest, if you go to 2018-19, we had 5. The year before that, we had 8. And the year before that, we had 9. It's pretty interesting that right about 2016-17 is when this very school district and this very school board proclaimed that one of their goals, one of their commitments, was to reduce and or eliminate combo classes at all costs at one point, what we were told. And apparently, that commitment has ended without any notice to the teachers union, nor any notice to our parents and students. And a bunch of these combo classes were created today. Now, last week, on Friday, I met with the district. I spent the entire weekend with my bargaining team trying to help the district out, and I was told that, we're going to get us an agreement together, but then we're going to look at the numbers on Monday because we think the numbers on Monday are going to be better. We're going to have lower numbers on Monday, so don't worry about it. So we came up with an agreement that we thought would work, and then by the time I got a couple hours into my Monday, discovered that there were already issues with that agreement, and then by the time I met with the district at 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, come to find out there were already things happening beyond that agreement. There were other involuntary transfers and reassignments I had not been told about that hadn't been shared with the union. But the union came in and spent about 3.5 hours in here yesterday trying to explain to the district that what they were doing was going to create massive inequities and big problems in our district. And for one, you're creating some big inequities between the south side of the river and the north side of the river. You're creating inequities between Cedar Lane and Linda and Ella and Olivehurst and Arboga and Edgewater. Inequities which I did not think that this school district nor the school board would stand for. But apparently, not only are we going to stand for them now, but we are going to stand staunchly for them, because MUTA wasted 3.5 hours of our breath yesterday imploring the district to please not do this. And we showed the numbers. For one, Cedar Lane now can take 1 fourth grade student, 1. They cannot take a single 5th or 6th grade student now. And when we ask the question, well, what happens if a kid shows up tomorrow to go into 5th grade at Cedar Lane? Well, we'll figure it out when we get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. And when we tried to press the issue, where are they going to go? Well, we'll find a place for them in the district. Where? And that's 3.5 hours of around and around and around and around yesterday. Ella is now over the contractual maximum for 4th through 6th grade for their average. We told them that yesterday too. And still this went through today. Ella, by the way, cannot take a single 4th, 5th, or 6th grade student now at this point. And Linda can take a maximum of 4 4th grade students, max. And by the way, speaking of Cedar Lane, if you haven't driven out there lately, which I assume most of you have, but I don't know about the people at home hearing this, there's a really big building going up out there that's going to be housing people. And I know that we've had a housing commission telling us what may or may not be in that building, but the fact that we're apparently not even banking on more than one single fourth grade kid coming out of that is problematic. But also the fact that in certain instances, we now have SDC students who should be getting as much support as possible. They are now going to be in classes that are completely and utterly maxed out. We could have avoided it. I would venture a guess that we have the money to avoid it. And part of the reason I would venture that guess is because we are continuing to hire staff in this building, and we have $8 million over last year. And we're not talking about hiring an additional 30 teachers. We're talking about, I believe maybe it was 4 classes, maybe 3 even. And so this is just some of the inequities. You've also got some inequities in that at a certain site you can be overflowed and at other sites you cannot be overflowed, so that's another inequity. And so then we asked the $1 million question. We said, okay, so what is the goal behind all of this? Like, what is the district trying to accomplish here? What is the goal? And according to the district, the goal in all of this is to balance staffing. In other words, put as many students as possible in numerous classrooms per our contractual limits. Max them out. That way we can have as few teachers here as possible. I learned yesterday that supposedly Marysville High School has 6 or 7 more teachers than they really need. Some interesting math. But the other thing to keep in mind with these numbers, speaking of Marysville High, we haven't even touched on secondary numbers. We haven't looked at numbers for nurses, for SPED, for speech pathologists. We haven't looked at any of that yet. So according to the teachers union, and I would believe any educator in the sound of my voice, the goal should be to provide the best education and learning environment for our students. It's supposed to be the goal per our LCAP. It's supposed to be the goal per our mission statement. But apparently the goal now is balancing staffing. While you're over on your admin ratio, because we have now decided that VPs are half-time VPs and half-time student support specialists, so we can get under an admin ratio. And again, like I said, while we continue to hire people here, the goal should be to provide the best education and learning environment for our students, point blank. Balancing staffing, well, when you're balancing staffing at the cost of students, I don't think that should be a goal at any point. And all of this is while the district claims, again in your LCAP, that MJUSD recognizes that there's a lot of work to be done in the area of teacher support with retention and recruitment. Really? It's kind of looking like the board and the school district are going to delay that work until next year at best. It's disappointing at best. We're supposed to be in an LMI meeting tomorrow. Labor Management Initiative. And nothing about this feels good, and nothing about it looks good, and nothing about it smells good. And I will tell you that spending the kind of time yesterday thinking, coming in with the good faith effort, being the eternal optimist, and coming in and thinking we really were going to look at the 60 some odd pages of enrollment data and try to sit down and actually have a respectable adult labor management conversation and try to have somebody listen to educators in this district. We came in with the best of intentions, and we left realizing that that was all for naught. And so if the district wants to hold on to the teachers you have, I would suggest maybe you not delay this work until next year, because I'm already hearing from teachers who are like, they can't hold me to my contract now, can they? I can leave, right? Because I can go get a job anywhere else tomorrow. And they're right. This isn't the recession where we were cutting teachers out the wazoo. They're right. They can cut their losses right now and go somewhere else. Somewhere where they will be respected, somewhere where they will be listened to about their class size numbers and about their students and what's best for the education of their students. They can. My hope is maybe as a school board, you can listen to what we're saying and try to offer some support and try to undo the damage that was done today. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the Operating Engineers Local Union Number 3. California School Employees Associations Number 326 and 648. Association of Management and Confidential Employees. Supervisory Unit. Now we're going to move to presentations. We have Cordua, Elementary.
It's a video. Do I?
Just address the board and then.
Okay, I wasn't sure what order. Good evening, trustees, Superintendent Asrani, cabinet, members of the audience. Thank you for taking the time out to watch a presentation of Browns Valley and Cordua. Principal at Browns Valley and Cordua Elementary Schools. Good evening, trustees, Superintendent Asrani, members of the cabinet, and members of the audience. I'm Heather Marshall, principal at Browns Valley and Cordua Elementary Schools. At Browns Valley, our guiding mission statement is every student, every day. At Cordua, it's every student matters, every moment counts. Browns Valley and Cordua have developed a school plan for student achievement, or Sipsa. Both schools engage in timely and meaningful consultation with stakeholders in the planning as well as the implementation of the Sipsa. Data is critical in determining the needs of students. The data sources considered in the comprehensive needs assessment, which drives the Sipsa development, are listed on this slide. An example of data used in the comprehensive needs assessment is the CAST data. This is our preliminary data from last year's state CAST testing. We were pleased to see the data reflect the efforts and hard work of our staff, students, and families. In our first look at this data, we focused on the columns for met and exceeded to see the percentage of our students tested that were at or above grade level. We compared that against the year prior, and in each grade level and content area, we saw significant growth. This is true of both Browns Valley and Cordua, 3rd through 5th graders, as you can see in these two slides. This first one is Browns Valley 3-year CASP, ELA, and math data. This is Cordua 3-year CASP, ELA, and math data. This is another example of data we consider when developing our Sipsa. We look at who is being recognized throughout the year for academic or behavior success so that we can intervene and make a plan for students not yet recognized. You can see in the bar graphs for each school at the top of this slide what last year's student recognition looked like, with the darker color indicating students that had received acknowledgement. The pie charts below illustrate our discipline trends for last year, showing referrals by grade level. We also track and can look at trends for specific behaviors and even individual students. This helps our PBIS teams determine the efficacy of our systems and what actions we might be able to take to improve student outcomes. The next 5 slides highlight the way Browns Valley and Cordua schools prioritize categorical funding under district LCAP goals. The Sipsa goals at both schools are largely the same, as we're working towards the same objectives and initiatives, though the funding sources are different. LCAP Goal 1 is to improve academic performance by creating an academic system that addresses and engages the various identified needs of all students. Both schools have LRTs, 3.5 hours per day. We budget funding for school copiers and supplemental or enrichment materials, online resources, and for STEAM. We also prioritize books for our library and technology. LCAP Goal 2 is to create an environment that addresses the physical, emotional, and safety needs of all students and staff. PBIS programs set behavior expectations and recognize student success, and we're looking to fund ongoing high-quality professional development around our initiatives. LCAP Goal 3 is to prepare every student with the skills needed for college and career readiness. While we are elementary schools, we want to prepare our students early for college and career. We use PLC time to plan instruction, analyze data, and create interventions where appropriate. We fund before and after school tutoring to target those identified needs. LCAP Goal 4 is to build a system of specific support for our English learner, foster, and low SES students. Although EL students do not make up a significant subgroup of enrollment at either school, a team of myself, EL support, and our outreach consultant work together to ensure that accurate EL testing, monitoring, and reclassification occur. In addition, we use our PBIS program and our outreach consultant position to work within tiered systems of support to plan for the success of all students. LCAP Goal 5 is to improve home-to-school partnerships. In both Sipsas, there are goals written to facilitate family nights. Both schools send out monthly newsletters and meet regularly with various parent groups. The next two slides reflect the preliminary categorical budgets for both schools. As I mentioned previously, they look a little different from each other and other schools in the district, as Browns Valley does not receive Title I funding. It's worth mentioning that these budgets are also not reflective of unrestricted funding sources, support from the district, and from each site's PTA. The Browns Valley categorical budget without carryover totals $19,171 in targeted funds. And the Cordua categorical budget without carryover totals $25,741 in targeted and Title I funds. The next two slides show some photos of the last 2 weeks of school and some of last year, since we're just in the beginning stages of the 22-23 school year. I tried to highlight some of our PBIS program through photos. You'll see the matrix that is hanging in the Browns Valley School hallway, students attending PBIS tours, and participating in a staff versus students kickball game. At the bottom corner of this slide are photos of a neat opportunity on campus at Browns Valley. The Center for Western Weather and Water Extremes, Scripps Institution of Oceanography, installed a weather station, one of several throughout Yuba County. The station measures precipitation, humidity, air temperature, solar radiation, wind speed, and a number of things related to weather. The scientists from Scripps have also been in partnership with the Yuba Water Agency. This has created opportunity for community partnerships and meaningful interactions between real scientists and students. At Cordua, one of our long-standing traditions is our whole school flag salute, which you can see in the photo in the bottom corner. I also highlighted some of our PBIS program through photos. There's a photo of the schedule of our PBIS tours that we did at Cordua, of our posters that are throughout the school listing expectations. I was excited to include a picture of our new Kindergarten Stars program and a couple of photos of some science solar ovens out of pizza boxes that our 4th and 5th graders did to show our dedication to incorporating STEAM into our everyday learning. That concludes my presentation for this school year, but before I end, I wanted to express my admiration and appreciation to the staff at Browns Valley and Cordua. They are two schools who are filled with people who do whatever it takes for kids every single day. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I apologize a little for the sound. I was recording in my office, and we had our STARS program, and they were coming in to chat with me. So I was trying to keep the doors shut, and it sounded a little in a vacuum. Apologies. Are there any questions that I can answer?
Are there any questions from the board? Thank you for a great presentation.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have Arboga.
Everyone, I'm Kylie Ligorio. I am the assistant principal at Arboga. Mr. Preston sends his apologies. He had a prior commitment tonight, not able to make it, but you will hear both of us on our presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have afterwards.
Thank you.
Chris Ronnie, members of the cabinet, and members of the audience. My name is Eric Preston, and I'm the principal of Arboga Elementary School.
I am Kylie Ligorio. I am the assistant principal at Arboga Elementary.
And this is the Arboga Elementary School Board Report for the 2022-2023 school year. Our mission statement is that our mission is to ensure that the whole child develops and learns at their optimal ability while at Arboga Elementary School. We will be developing a motto, whole staff, later this school year. And our vision is to develop students prepared for high school and beyond to become self-sufficient adults, contributing to their community and living fulfilling lives.
This mission and vision statement are new to us this year. We wanted to come up with a new one as we expand to our new school and our STEAM identity. Our first step to create that mission and vision was to get input from our entire staff, and then ourselves and our leadership team came up with a list of our values. What do we value as a school? And we've paired each value with a commitment statement of how we are going to uphold those values.
The purpose of our plan, which is the School Plan for Student Achievement, or Sipsa, or SITE Plan, as schools often call it, is how we spend our categorical dollars like Title I and Targeted. And it is designed for us to target meaningful areas of the campus needs. And we do that through performing a comprehensive needs assessment that should include a lot of data points, such as test scores, discipline, behavior, parent information, all of the things that you see on this. And so you will see this in every school's presentation. Additionally, there are 5 goals that the district has set this year for all schools to have in their site plans based off of the LCAP. Elementary schools 4 apply. These are our 4. So our first goal is to improve academic performance by creating an academic system that addresses and engages the various identified needs of all Arboga students. And we do that through the following ways. Some of the things are professional development throughout the year for staff, continuing to fund supplemental contracts for online resources like IXL, which is a math program, Generation Genius, which is a science and math program, ESGI, which is for TK and K, and up into first grade too, and also purchasing manipulative supplementary materials, etc.
Our second goal, to create an environment that addresses the physical, emotional, and safety needs of all students and staff. And some of our strategies to address that goal are funding 2 different elementary student support specialists who help us with various programs, an outreach consultant, our school counselor. We have a very strong PBIS program. And then this year, we also are adding Toolbox, which is a social emotional curriculum to our entire campus.
Goal 4 is to build a system of specific supports for our EL, foster, and low SES students. Excuse me, our strategy is to provide ELD professional development opportunities for teachers and possibly hire a para-educator who will help with that instruction, because it is definitely a need district-wide, and we know it is a need on our site.
Our goal 5, which is to improve homeschool partnerships. Our monthly newsletter this year will actually be partially student created, which is exciting for us. And then in addition, Toolbox also counts as our homeschool partnerships, because we will be doing some parent education on Toolbox and involving them in all of that curriculum as well.
Our budget for this year, preliminary, is $208,571. That is comprised of $118,600 from Title I, $1,445 from Title I parent involvement, and $88,526 from targeted. This is a decrease of $91,000 from last year. However, that amount last year included carryovers that we are not yet privy to. This is data from our Smarter Balance testing from last year, and it is shockingly low. We knew that we were going to have some low scores coming out of COVID. We did not expect them to be this low. So basically what this has done is set the stage for us to really target and focus on teaching the core basics and actually getting kids ready to learn before that. So hence the Toolbox SEL program and all of the emotional supports that we're adding, because this is not okay.
Of course, the exciting thing going on at Arboga still is our construction. As of now, it is not quite complete, but it is getting much closer, and we are very excited about all of the new things that will bring to our campus, including our new multi-purpose room, which is what you see here, as well as our track, field, and then the new classrooms for our middle school.
We have a lot of plans for this upcoming school year, obviously adding TK and K, which is going to have us do an elementary side, TK to 5, I said TKK, excuse me, TK and 7. We will run an elementary side, TK5, and a middle school side, 6-7, with some points of overlap. After all of the buildings are finished and signed over to us, because as of today, July 28th, when we recorded this, they're still in build mode. We will be converting the current cafeteria to our library, and then there's like a domino effect after that, moving all of these different people into new places so that they have a better opportunity to serve our clientele.
We also are looking forward to expanding our Cougar Kids leadership program by creating more of an ASB type leadership, where we'll have elected positions from some of our upper elementary grades as well as middle school. We also will have an elective wheel for our 6th and 7th graders. So we'll have 4 different electives, and throughout the course of the year, every quarter, every student will get a chance to participate in each elective, which is exciting.
And one of the things I'm most excited about is the opportunity for, excuse me, 6th and 7th graders to actually push into the elementary classrooms and help with some cross-age tutoring, provided they're at or above grade level, while other students who are not can get the interventions and supports that they need. We've revised our Cougar Guide, our student handbook, to make it more magazine quality. We will be posting it on our school website as a flipbook for parent and student convenience. We've created a staff handbook for the first time. We've always wanted to have one, and now we finally do. We're introducing a PACERS program through which students earn prizes for walking, jogging, running laps on the track every morning before school. Instead of having an unstructured recess time to begin their day, they'll have a structured activity. They will still have mid-morning recess, lunch recess, and for grades 1 through 3, they'll have an afternoon recess. Finally, we're refining our after-school club offerings and gearing up to start after-school sports for the first time ever.
We also will be continuing our WIN time, or What I Need, which is intervention that focuses at the K-3 level primarily on phonics and getting kids reading. And then 4th and 5th grade will focus on both language arts and math. We also will be adding a makerspace to our campus where classes can go to do different STEM activities and really apply what they are learning. And we have done a ton of hiring since March of last year, and as of today, we are still in the process of filling a couple more positions. So we look forward to inviting or welcoming all of these new staff members this year.
And that concludes our presentation. Should you guys have any questions at all for us, please reach out. Here are our contact information, or here is our contact information, and thank you for listening to us.
Thank you very much.
I apologize about the echoey sound too. Now we know for next year. Any questions I can answer right now for you?
Are there any questions from the board?
No.
Very nice
Thank you.
presentation. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Thank you. So I have a few updates to share with you this evening. From our Buildings and Grounds Department, we have Ella's solar panels are now generating power as of today. In our fiscal department, they're in the middle of open enrollment for our health and health benefits. That's running from August 15th through September 15th. And they're gearing up for our health fair that's going to be held here in the boardroom on August 31st. So please come and join us. In the transportation department, we've received a tentative award for 4 new buses from the CAPP funding from the Feather River Air Quality Management District. So that's really exciting. Now we just need drivers for those buses. In nutrition services, they've debuted several new recipes since school started, and those include tater tot casserole, Cajun chicken pasta, barbecue cheeseburger mac and cheese, lemon pepper chicken drumsticks, and hummus and pita with veggie sticks. And they're going to debut more coming in the next several weeks. Also, they received today news that they got approval to operate under the Community Eligibility Provision, CEP, and this provision was up for renewal, and Nutrition Services is now confirmed for 4 more years to provide universal free breakfast and lunch to all enrolled students. And this approval includes all the YCOE programs that Nutrition Services also supports. So thank you.
Any questions for Jennifer? Education Services, Jay.
I had to stand up. These desks are a little bit high. I'm happy to report that it's hard to believe that we're only 9 days into the school year, yet should you visit any of our campuses or any of our classrooms, you would never know it. That is, the routines and procedures that the classroom teachers try to bring about in order to ensure optimal learning in the classrooms are taking hold. Our support staff and our office staff and our counseling staff, they're already in full work mode. Principals are strategically visiting classrooms to esteem the learning process as well as to set expectations for our kiddos as well as our staff members. I continue to be impressed by what I see daily in classrooms, and I'm really getting a great kick visiting our schools, so I'm excited to share that. As the board and affected schools are aware, curriculum deployment has been a little bit of a struggle for us, not so much because of anything that's happening on our end, but it's just because of the slow delivery of materials from vendors. I'm happy to say that this week we think we turned a good corner. That is, all of our new science materials for our high schools in particular have arrived, and they are being delivered as we speak. I'm particularly excited about the science materials because, as you know, the state adopted the new NJSS standards a couple of years back, and the standards are such that there's an expectation that students get a chance to learn science by doing science, which means that they're going to be much more collaboratively involved in classrooms, which requires, an update of materials. They'll be doing many more labs and inquiry types of projects, as well as phenomena-driven instruction. So we're just happy to report that those materials are making their way to our science classrooms. And finally, as we know, we've heard a little bit about it today, as we've heard probably in many board meetings, the pandemic wreaked havoc to our communities in such ways that we could have never imagined. But through the efforts of some of our folks, such as the school readiness centers and our ORCs, our outreach consultants, they are making a difference to our families, and in particular to our students who are homeless and or foster youth. So I just wanted to give a shout out to those folks and those adults in the classrooms across the board. And thank you.
Any questions for Jay? Personnel Services, Dave?
Thank you, trustees, Superintendent Israni, Public, and Cabinet. I want to start off by acknowledging the work of the Cabinet in support of attendance office and meeting on a daily basis since August 11th. We've been meeting to look at enrollment numbers. We have a contractual obligation, and we have a contract we share with MUTA to make sure that our class sizes are below and not above the limit in the contract. It's a contract that we have together with MUTA. It's not their contract or our contract. It's one we develop together through negotiations. We have met every day to look at enrollment numbers, to discuss possible staffing adjustments, but it's always the unknown in staffing is which kids are going to show up. And there's the ones we didn't expect, and there were the ones we expected who never came. So we have to make those adjustments. We can't do that during the first week of school, unfortunately. We've got to give them time to show. And in our community, they sometimes don't show until the second week at a lot of our sites. The goal we're really looked at, and we talked about this as a cabinet, is really equity to us is making sure every classroom, every student and teacher is the highest priority. We put the students and the families first. We achieved that goal even despite the staff movement you heard about. We have students were able to stay at the school where they enrolled. That's a school the family chose because of what that school offers. They have other choices, as you know, online now through the roof. They have charter choices. They have choices outside our district. They chose us because of the school they enroll at, and we didn't have to change the site for students. We were able to adjust staffing, and we had to do that contractually, but we also wanted to have the goal driving us of keeping kids home at the school they were at. It is disruptive. It's not, to be transparent, to take a teacher and ask them to move to another grade level. To take a teacher to ask to not only move to another grade level, but another site at another grade level. We've offered and did have an agreement with MUTA over the weekend, and we upheld that agreement to give them support in the form of release time and or pay for that transition, to give them transition time to move to that new classroom. We have 508 teachers in the district, and I think it is tough to impact 11 teachers, but keep in perspective, that's 2% of our entire teaching population that we had to impact to achieve the goal of having students attend the school that they call home. That's to us, it's difficult, but I feel like by working towards that goal, we're doing what's right for our school and our community, our schools and our community. I want to thank Ms. Siegel and her team. We don't always agree. We've only known each other a short amount of time, but I think I know we'll continue to work together, move conversations forward. Sometimes we'll land in the same place and sometimes we won't, but eventually we'll do what's right for our district, and I firmly believe in that and appreciate you spending the time, the hours you spent. Appreciate the unexpected food that arrived. I appreciate all of those things because they're all efforts to come together, and I don't want to go through tonight without acknowledging that. As far as certificated staffing goes, we just have a few vacancies. I guess that last year at this time, we had over 30. So in certificated classroom spots, we have a math we're hopefully closing in on. We have a music and a PE and then a few special ed positions. But other than that, we're staffed for the year. For certificated, I'm looking forward. Jay has inspired me, hey, get out of the office. So I'm going to get out of the office and visit some sites and support principal development and growth. I'm really excited to do that. Looking at numbers gets you a little cross-eyed sometimes, so it'd be good to take a break from that. Although it is important, and we're also bringing back information on the Teacher Pathways Development program that I'm going to be meeting with MUTA about as well to collaborate on. That's all I have.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Gabe from the board?
Actually, I do have one, President Davis. So, Dr. Simon, just when you were talking about enrollment, it's certainly going to be an unfair question, but I was curious to see maybe if you had an idea of what the current enrollment was as of yesterday compared to last Monday. I mean, how many did we enroll last week? Was there a big jump in numbers during the week, or?
Yeah, overall, I think we saw an increase. We had quite a few students. We would guess that were enrolled at ABL due to COVID and an independent study that I think made the choice to go to their home schools, which are in-person schools. So there was a shift there. And really, families are ready to be back in person. So that allowed us to have a little bit of an increase in what we expected. But we also had some weird bubbles. Mainly one that stood out in elementary was fourth grade, where across many sites, we are really low in enrollment in the majority of those classes. So we had to look at those numbers and make sure that if we're low in fourth grade in certain schools and high in other fourth grades, what kind of program are we delivering? Are we delivering a fair and kind of even program to our students. So that helped to drive those decisions that you heard about.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the board? Thank you very much. Dr. Asrani?
Thank you. And I do want to start with a moment of silence for our little child that we lost at Cedar Lane this weekend. So if you could just join me for a moment of silence. Thank you. And again, condolences to the Cedar Lane community and to the family and to the staff. This is a very hard start to the school year. I do want to give a shout out to our teachers. I've visited at least, I think, about 60% of our campuses so far. I've shaken hands with as many teachers as I can, and our staff and our custodians and our food service workers and everybody, because together we are here to serve our community. The comments made this evening by Muta, I can completely understand their sentiment. I think it should not be ignored because they're coming from a place of what does that mean? Where we came from, and as a superintendent of the district, I do want to state that, as Dr. Simon eloquently stated, our priority are our students, the little kiddos and the families that walk into our school campuses. The district did have a practice that if our students were enrolled in excess of the numbers allowed in the school, in other words, if there were more kids coming in, the kids would be transported to an overflow school. And when we looked at that as a district all of last year, what we saw were kids were just moving back and forth. And we can't figure that out, how that is the right thing to do. How do we make that decision? What I'm proud to say, despite the criticisms we're hearing today, and again, as I mentioned, concerns from our teachers which are valid from their point of view, not a single student, and I want to mention that, not a single student or a family has been asked to move from the school to which they've enrolled. Busing is an issue. Transportation is an issue. We put kids on the bus for hours to move from school to school. If the new students come in, which in our district is not a pattern we see more kids leaving by about November, numbers go down a bit by January, but if students should come to our district, they will be working with Mr. Zach Plesser's office and his staff. They have the numbers absolutely now on sheet. They know which schools can take the child, and if the child has no place in that school, right away, we will put them on a transportation route to a school where the numbers are ready to absorb. And I think that's what the families deserve and expect from us. We don't want to play around moving kids back and forth. So I want to put that on record. We're here to serve our community. I know our teachers agree with us. It was a tough call that we had to make those moves, but I think we did what we had to do. It's not a popular decision, but I hope we stand by that. On that note, I'd like to give a little bit of my time to Mr. Bob Eckert. The work of the community partnership and the director of community partnerships was created with your support to meet the goal on the strategic plan to build our community presence, and he has something very exciting to share with us. Thank you, Mr. Eckert.
Appreciate the time, Dr. Azrani. Board, cabinet, members of the audience. I just wanted to give you a quick update. I know there's been some communication regarding the immunization clinic. So just a brief background. Over the summer, as the kiddos start coming back to school, it became very apparent very quickly that due to a lot of forces, maybe it's the pandemic, whatnot, a lot of our kids were missing the basic childhood immunization. This has nothing to do with COVID. This has nothing at all to do with COVID. This is just the normal, hey, get your shots to get into kindergarten, get your shots to get in to 7th grade. When we saw that, we were tasked with, okay, how can we fix this? And what we ended up doing was creating a very unique partnership with two other agencies, Yuba Health and Human Services and Ampla Health. Ampla Health and John Fleming, the director of planning, immediately stepped up when I reached out, said, absolutely, let me see what we can do. He got on the horn within a matter of days. We had all the players involved. Then there became questions of, well, do we have enough serum? Dr. Liu and our bi-county health officer stepped in and said, hey, I think we can make this happen. Over a period of a couple of weeks, there's been a major team getting this together, and the culmination of this is the next 3 Saturdays, the 27th, the 3rd, and the 10th, Ampla Health is going to be providing a immunization clinic to school-age children that need their immunizations free of charge. So if they do not have health insurance, Yuba Health and Human Services, they're going to cover the cost, so it's zero cost there. As an incentive, Yuba Health and Human Services has offered for the first 200 families that come in, they will get a $25 gift card. There's also raffle prizes. I think there's a Nintendo Switch, whatever that is, a bicycle, and there was one other piece to try and get them in. You know, what we're really trying to do is break down barriers with this clinic. And to further break the barriers down, we all know transportation is an issue, especially as gas prices have gone up and have gone down. So the district with Greg Taylor and his team, Danielle, we are going to be offering shuttle services, both on the north side of the river and the south side of the river, to get families to the Lyndhurst Health Clinic. That is where it's going to be offered. And that cost will be covered again by Yuba Health and Human Services. So this really has been a very unique partnership of these three vastly different, but sharing the same cause partners. So that is the clinic. And we're really excited to see this thing kick off. It's going to be a good thing. Ampla Health has also committed. They want to keep doing this. They're going to work on an MOU so that every year before school starts, we can do this ahead of time, get things set up so families can just quickly get in, get out, take care of everything they need to take care of. And this is one less headache that they have when school starts. Because as you know, after 30 days, if you're not immunized, we're required by Ed Code to remove the child from school. And nobody wants that to happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, one other. That's right. There's a couple other things going on. Adult ed. Son of a gun. So we're going to open our doors on September 6th. It is a excitingly feverish endeavor, literally building the ship from the ground up in every sense of the word. We have 135 that have started the enrollment process, and we are feverishly getting them enrolled into classes. As I've mentioned before, we are setting up with diploma track for those that need to finish their diploma for now, and the ESL piece. It's about a 50-50 split as far as the enrollment goes. We're doing 3 schools for diploma: Marysville High School, Ella, and Cedar Lane, and 3 sites for ESL, which would be Kynoch, Ella, and Linda. The response has been quite overwhelming. It's, like I said, from the ground up is from the ground up. I mean, we have good problems. There's bad problems to have and there's good problems to have. We've got a bunch of good problems. So September 6th will be our first, that'll be the first day. So it's really exciting to see these parents coming in. There's a nervousness to them. I mean, we have students as young as 19, 20 years old that just missed it last year and they're trying to figure it out, to folks in their 50s. And it's like, you know what, it's time. And you see the scared in their face. And it's like, gosh, I don't know if I can do this. It's been so long since I've been in school. It's like, we got you. We got you. We're just going to take it one step at a time. And so it's been a really amazing experience hearing some of their stories as they're coming in and just reassuring them to say, it's okay. It's okay. You know, we'll do everything we possibly can and you can do this. So very excited to see that kick off. And once we have our kickoff, I'll obviously be briefing you along the way on how we're doing. So Dr. Azzarni, thank you for your time. And board, thank you for listening.
Any questions for Bob? Great job, Bob.
Thank you. And I must excuse myself.
So now we move to approval of the 8/8/22 special board meeting minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to those minutes from the board? If not, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the special board meeting of 8/8/22.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Boone. A motion by Randy Rasmussen. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Abstain. One abstention. 5-1. Now we have approval of the August 9th, 22 regular board meeting minutes. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes from the board? If not, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Frank Crawford. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Gary Criddle. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Abstain.
Okay, one abstention. Passes 5-1. Now we have the approval of consent agenda items. I have a couple of different corrections. 14.3, classified employment. The name of Maria Valdes was misspelt. The correct spelling, I'll have to spell it for you, Maria, V-A-L-D-E-Z. The second correction is on 14.3, classified employment. Brian Vega Garcia, EL facilitator at McKinney, for 7 hours, 11-month probationary, has been changed to 3.7 hour, 11-month probationary, starting on August 22nd, 2022. Are there any items that the board would like to pull from the consent agenda? If not, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda from Frank Crawford. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hasty. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Now we move to new business. We're at 16.1. Approve the agreement with the Yuba County Office of Education and Marysville Joint Unified School District SPED program study with Maureen O'Leary Furness. Do you have any information on it?
Yes, I'd like to invite Director Matthews to give us an update.
Good evening, everyone. Board of Trustees, Dr. Sarani, Superintendents. Yes, we would like to recommend the approval of the agreement for the study between Marysville Joint Unified and Yuba County Office of Ed. A little bit of background, this process started probably 2 superintendents ago, and there was some changing in staff, and then we had COVID. But it's an opportunity for Marysville Joint Unified to determine the ongoing fiscal impacts of these programs that we share with the County Office of Ed, and identify ways to align the services to better serve those students in those programs. And so we'll look at those impacts and effects.
As I understand it, about $45,000, we're only paying half?
Yes, yes. And then in service area 4, that would be the regional ED program that we provide for the region. That expense would stay with us.
Are there any questions from the board? If not, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Frank Crawford. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Hasty. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 6-0. Thank you very much. Now we have 17.1 under Ed Services. Complete the first read of the board policy 6158 independent study.
I'd like to call up Mr. Zachary Plus to lead this. Thank you.
Hi, I got a quick presentation for you guys, only about 2 minutes long. I try to make it nice and succinct, but we'll do that, and then I'll answer any questions you have. There were some changes in independent study over the summer to Ed Code.
Superintendent Dr. Azrani, members of the cabinet, members of the audience.
I am Zachary Plush, Director of Student Welfare and Attendance. I am here tonight to present suggested updates to Board Policy 6158 on independent study. On June 30th, 2022, the California Legislature passed AB 181 that requires districts update their policy or risk losing funding for independent study ADA. In the 2021-22 school year, independent study was expanded to help meet the needs of families who could not return to traditional classrooms by providing long-term independent study, 15 days or more. This is like what MJSD offers through Abraham Lincoln. Also, it supported students who needed to quarantine at home for short independent study that was done through the student's home site. One change that was making it easier for students with IEPs to access long-term independent study. It also made sure that special education case managers signed off on any student with an IEP when they are on independent study. Another change was typing when the parents' signatures were needed to be collected from both short and long-term independent study. When students are on long-term independent study, one of the biggest concerns is they will disengage. AB 181 made some changes to the triggers for when Abraham Lincoln would need to use tiered re-engagement with students who are not participating enough. Lastly, students receiving medical treatment who are on inpatient facilities are not required to meet the same re-engagement requirements as those students who are not in those facilities. In summary, AB 181 required school boards to comply with the new requirements or risk loss of ADA from independent study attendance. Thank you for your time and consideration. So I don't expect any of you guys to be experts on independent study, but there's just some changes that they put into place that we had to update our board policies to meet. The changes in terms of practice at our school sites will be pretty minimal. There's not a lot of big shifts to how we're doing stuff at the school sites. A lot of it had to do with like when we collected independent study contracts. In the past, we were given a lot of flexibility last year where independent study could be finished before we got a signature from a parent. They reined that in a little bit, and we have to do it within 10 days of the beginning of a student being on independent study. Ideally, these are all done on the front end, that we know about independent study happening ahead of time, and we're doing those before they occur. Any questions that the board members have that I can answer?
Any questions from the board?
Just curious, what are your numbers now? Offhand, not exact.
I think Abraham Lincoln, which is our long-term independent study, I think has about 150, 170 kids. 187. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's been going, it started a little bit lower and then it's been going up a little bit since then.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you both.
Thank you very much. That was an informational item. We now move to 17.2, approve the memorandum of understanding with Simbra Mobile Incorporated.
Super excited about this. I'm going to ask Ms. Jamie Larson, our Director of College and Career Readiness, to come and share.
Good evening. Thank you all for allowing us to bring this memorandum of understanding before you. We actually, Dr. Fall has really taken a leadership role in this, actually at a statewide level, in terms of working with the company that's developing this app called College Connect. So the application really will reach students in the format that they're most familiar with, their cell phone. They're connected to it all the time. But it is providing an avenue for colleges and universities to be able to market directly to students, allowing students to be connected to college recruiters, helping them track their progress in terms of meeting requirements to get into the college or university, or really to be able to track their success towards whatever their post-secondary goal is. It is an app that will be highly customizable depending upon the rollout of the app and the student's individual needs. Parents will use it as a way to be able to monitor their student success, and certainly schools, our schools, will be able to use it to also help students track their progress towards their post-secondary pathway of choice.
Any questions from the board?
One of the things that I do with any new app that comes out like this is we've got such very stringent student data privacy agreements that must be in place, and the boards that I've taken to you a couple of times. And so one of the things we do with something like this is we immediately go out and take a look and see, have they signed that student data privacy agreement? They have done this with other districts, and so we can go into this agreement confident that the way they're going to handle the information they're getting from our students is appropriate and follows all of the guidelines that we need.
So the other question is it compatible with our system? Will it impact our system?
So this one's actually really easy for us because all we have to do is open it up on our network. It's an app that they're putting on their phone, so it's not even any of the devices necessarily that we control. It's their own phones, and so this is an easy one for us to support because it's not our Chromebook that we've got to figure out. It's not any of that. It's actually designed to work on their phones, and so this is an easy one.
If I may just add, please, Ms. Lawson, if you could talk about parent permission, that's part of the process.
Absolutely. So parents will have an opportunity to opt out if they are not interested in having the app at all or having these notifications sent out to their students. And the other thing I think that is worth noting is as college admission exams have started going by the wayside, that really was a large recruiting tool for colleges and universities to be able to reach our students. And so this whole app has really developed through the UC systems as a way for colleges and universities to be able to connect with our students. And because our students, high school students, are the target for this mobile app, we as a high school school district are not being charged for the application at all. That is, the development and the cost for operation will be borne by the colleges that are using our students as their targeted audience.
Sounds great.
Very nice. Any other questions or comments? Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Frank Crawford. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Randy Rasmussen. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 6-0. Now on to new business personnel. Initial bargaining proposal from CSEA number 648 to the Marysville Joint Unified School District for the 2020-21 school year. Dr. Simon?
Yes, thank you. The next 6 items are related to sunshine proposals that came before the board at the last meeting and the public for a public hearing. So entertain any questions. We take them each individually, and apologize for the number of them, but we do have quite a few units in our district, and we look forward to negotiating with them on these matters that are in the proposals. And they're all before you. We can take them individually.
Are there any questions for Dr. Simon? If not, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Jeff Broom. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Randy Rasmussen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. 18.2, initial bargaining proposal from MJUSD to CSEA number 648 for the 2020-21 school year. I don't know why that says. Same thing? Any questions for, all those in favor say aye. Motion.
That's all right.
I always jump ahead. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Garrett Criddle. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Frank Crawford. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, 6-0. 18.3, initial bargaining proposal from CSEA CSEA number 326 to MJUSD for 2021-22.
This is our second CSEA chapter. We have 2 chapters.
Any questions? Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Frank Crawford. Is there a second? Second by Gary Criddle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. 18.4, initial bargaining proposal from MJUSD to CSEA number 326 for the 2021-22 school year. Any questions for Dr. Simon? If not, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Frank Crawford. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Redden Rasmussen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Initial bargaining proposal from OE3 to MJUSD for 2022-23 school year.
This proposal was brought for a public hearing. It's the only one that was brought for a public hearing on May 24th, so I wanted to make sure to note that. And then it was never brought for action, so I'm bringing it back for action.
Any other questions for Dr. Simon? If not, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Frank Crawford. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Hasty. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. 18.6, initial bargaining proposal from MJUSD for OE3 for 2022-23. Any questions for Dr. Simon? If not, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Frank Crawford. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Gary Criddle. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. 18.7, substitute teacher pay rate revision for the 2022-23 school year. Dr. Simon.
Yes, thank you. We have previously, a few years ago, had a long-term sub rate and a regular rate, but we've reverted back to last year and this year so far, just having one rate for substitutes. On page 109 in the packet, you can see comparable districts in the area will most likely steal away some of our subs if we don't establish a long-term rate, because the average long-term rate for our surrounding districts is about $241 and change. So we're proposing, we had about 35 different substitutes that did long-term assignments. We're defining long-term as 21 days or more consecutive in the same classroom. With the flexibility California Credentialing Commission on Credentialing has created, we can have a teacher up to 60 days in the same assignment with just a substitute permit, which is great. We want to be able to attract our long-term subs and have them do multiple long-terms if needed, if it's a match for maternity leaves and other types of leaves that teachers take for obviously important personal reasons. And the total cost that is estimated here, thanks to Jennifer and her department for helping me with our cool handy-dandy calculator, includes the statutory costs. So all that's included in the estimated cost. I also did a breakdown at $230 and $240 on the spreadsheet on page 109, but I would recommend $250 because it's slightly larger than the average, and checking with business services is something we can sustain over time.
So how many subs are we thinking are going to be using this?
Probably between 35 and 40.
What's our daily rate now?
We're just 200, no matter if you're in this classroom 1 day or 21 days or 40 days, it's just $200 flat rate.
We're not changing that. This is just for.
No, I'm not proposing to change the current rate for day-to-day subs. I'm just proposing to change to establish a long-term rate for those who stay in a classroom 21 days or more in the same classroom.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Any other questions for Dr. Simon? Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Frank Crawford. Is there a second? Second by Gary Criddle. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 6-0. Under Business Services, 19.1, Resolution 2022-23/8, temporary interfund transfers pursuant to EC 42603. Jennifer?
Yes, thank you. This is a resolution for a temporary interfund transfer. It's required by Ed Code 42603. It allows us to borrow money between funds, and an example of that would be our nutrition services cafeteria fund 13. We have to apply for reimbursement for those meals, so we're spending expenditures prior to receiving our revenue, and so we run in the deficit, but that allows our general fund to cover that deficit. And so this is required by our Ed Code, as I said earlier. Thank you.
How often do we do these type of interfund transfers?
We don't do an actual, it's our general fund covers our Fund 13 when it goes negative. That's really the main account that will run negative, and it's due to us being reimbursed by the state, but we have to spend our money up front to order our supplies and food and commodities. And so it's just so that when they run negative, we're in compliance with Ed Code.
Are there any questions for Jennifer? Do I hear a motion?
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Frank Crawford. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Hasty. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes 6-0. Now we're at 19.2, approve the purchase of equipment from EKC Enterprises and the purchase of equipment and scope of work with CDW-G to upgrade the audio-video system in the boardroom.
So I will take this one. It has been an interesting and challenging couple of years when it comes to the audio video in this room. We have a room that was built 100 years ago with the idea that microphones and speakers didn't exist, and so they wanted a voice to carry. It worked for a while, but with Zoom meetings happening in this room now and presentations and everything, it's become a challenge, both of the audio and the video. We went out, I've asked a couple of different people that know more about that than I do because they specialize in audio video. This particular company came back with a very nice proposal. It's going to, when I first did this room, the reason the speakers are here is because I thought the rafters were beautiful and I didn't want to mess with them, but we've now hit the point where it's going to benefit us a great deal if we can put the speakers up in the rafter and start pointing them down, so rather than the sound bouncing sideways around the room, it will start bouncing up. We're going to add multiple speakers with multiple sections in the room so that we can focus some on the front, some on the back, which will actually let us keep the volume at a whole lower than it would be otherwise. And we're also going to, in this particular phase, get rid of this particular projector here and take a TV like this and put one on each side of the wall here for the board to be able to see. In the second phase, we'll actually be getting rid of this one here too and upgrading the projector for the audience, but projectors right now are extremely back-ordered at that level, and so didn't want to wait for something, wanted to be able to at least get the audio and the first part of the video part taken care of, so.
Any questions?
So aesthetically, we're putting speakers into the rafters. Will they be big speakers, or will they be?
They will be similar to the side speakers that we have on the wall right now. They'll just be up in the rafters and pointed down towards us, as opposed to, they're not going to be big giant things. And I've made it clear that I love the room and please keep it looking as nice as possible, but it will benefit us a great deal to have multiple speakers up there pointed down just for the sound quality.
And they install everything?
They will install everything, yes. And real quick, if I may, I just want to give Russell some credit because he's done just a fantastic job getting everything to work for all of these meetings, and I'm very, very lucky to have him. I just wanted to make sure that I said that out loud because he's done a fantastic job. So.
Are there any other questions or comments?
I just have one. So, Mr. Williams, do you think the company we're purchasing them from can put little murals on the speakers to maybe match the decor?
I'll see what we can do.
Okay.
Thank you, Randy, I appreciate that. I want to preserve the
Plastics on.
Are there any other comments or questions? If not, do I hear a motion?
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Frank Crawford. Is there a second? Second by Garrett Criddle. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 6-0. Thank you very much, Brian.
Yes, thank you.
Now we're at 19.3, approve the change order number 1 with Core Construction for the Arboga Elementary School expansion conversion of TK8 project number 8196.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. We have Matt Wade here with Core Construction to talk to us about this change order number 1 with the Arboga project. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Board, thanks again for having me here and for being a partner with this project at Arboga. It's been, in our eyes, very successful, especially through a lot of challenging times. Not only for, the community, but also for our trade contractors and our folks and our vendors as well. So we've been very fortunate on this project, and as you can see in the agenda, it's change order 1, and there has only been one that's increasing the entire guaranteed maximum price that we originally signed up with. Our crews, our team did go through a lot of challenges, and it did go through some cost issues that were absorbed within that GMP. But as a result to some unforeseen conditions with I'd say public right-of-way work outside the boundaries of our school that's overseen by the county. These overseen conditions were definitely a needed thing, and it was unfortunate it was pretty late in the game until we came to what that defined scope was. So in conversations with the county, we defined that scope with our architects and our subcontractors, and we currently have a package into their permit review right now to accomplish this work, which will be probably about 2 weeks. This work will be obviously done safely in and around the school, and it'll be sequenced in a way that it will minimize disruption. Some weekend work as well to complete more of the intrusive work that may disrupt, some of the surrounding areas of the school. So the cost detail, I'm pretty sure it's in your package. If you have any questions, we have it broken down with our direct cost of work with our trade contractors, and then the indirect cost that's allowed by the contract in our GMP. So, any questions?
Any questions from the board?
So Matt, you said you've been working with the county and you'd mentioned the word permit. So is this little portion of the work, is that permitted by the county?
Yes, sir, it is. It is, and there is a permit fee with the county that's imposed with allowing us to basically do this work. They call it an encroachment permit. Other districts and counties sometimes call it a public right-of-way, permit. So
I guess my thought was when we first did that addition of the curb, we didn't have the okay from the county saying, here's your blessing?
We did not. We had a plan in place. That plan in place, we followed up with them on it, and we just didn't come to a final resolution of that plan, but there was communications ongoing with them on it, but we didn't finalize that scope of work.
Okay, and this is going to take care of the water mitigation and the crosswalk?
That's correct, sir. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Did the county assure you that they're going to do the rest of the sidewalks in that area?
I can't comment on that. They didn't explain.
There's something in the paragraph you drafted up. That's what I wondered.
Yeah, there has been discussions in the future to install, a more, I'd say, accessible sidewalk, a traditional sidewalk, and also other road improvements. To the extent and to the timing of that, I'm not sure when that is.
I'm just curious, when we had McKinney, in the back of McKinney and Covalot, or Kynok rather, we had sidewalks put in, but the county and city paid for it. I don't understand. Is it commonplace to charge contractors or schools to just do their front of the sidewalk?
Well, we're not necessarily putting in a sidewalk. It's not uncommon for school districts to provide some kind of public right-of-way work that's in the county work or in a city work.
This
like
was a city project.
on Covalot, it would be in the city, and we're having discussions right now with the city to
get out ahead of these issues, and that's something that's been very important for us to, lessons learned called it, right? So we're having those city discussions right now for the Covalot project. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So Matt, the last question was the current sidewalk is in that middle section. And it seemed like in our last board meeting, they were talking about more having the sidewalk portion closer to 4th Street. Because right now they have some sidewalk kind of by the mailbox a little bit. But is that where our entrance from the sidewalk is going to come through that planter box area, or?
Yeah, so if I understand your question, there really isn't any sidewalk on that street, with the exception of the crosswalk that is going to be installed with this work. So we will have a crosswalk, we will have a clear path through that landscaping that will be all concrete and up to code and up to DSA standards.
So thank you for correcting me. I didn't mean sidewalk, I was meaning crosswalk.
Yeah, crosswalk and the pathway in, exactly.
And that's going to be more to the eastern end by 4th Street?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Frank Crawford. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Randy Rasmussen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we move to public comments. Nikki Nakamura.
Hi, good evening. My name is Nikki Nakamura, and this is my daughter, Casey. Casey is a Marysville Joint Unified School District student who is severely autistic and severely intellectually delayed. She and I are here speaking tonight on behalf of the other special needs children of Marysville Joint Unified School District and their parents who, in the middle of our work day, on our first day of school, received phone calls from their bus drivers because they were out in front of our house with our kids while we were still at work, because they had to be dropped off at our homes instead of our designated daycares. These parents include 9 military employees, 3 MJUSD employees, including myself, 2 fast food workers, 2 county employees, 1 daycare owner, 4 state workers, 1 hairdresser, 1 grocery store clerk, 2 farm workers, 2 Walmart employees, 1 construction worker, 1 firefighter, 1 police officer, my husband, and 8 from the medical field, and countless others who are in our same position. We were all told with zero warning that our superintendent decided the previous day that the transportation of our children to a designated daycare was a waste of taxpayer dollars. In her defense, I did not hear this comment come straight from the cat's mouth, but the director of transportation did. And it became the responsibility of our beloved bus drivers to deliver the awkward and difficult message from our superintendent. I could think of 1,000 other things, a lot mentioned here tonight, that are poor uses of our taxpayer dollars. But transporting our special needs children to daycare is probably the least. The students are given the educational right to be transported to and from school. Being educated, I know and understand that the Ed Code states transportation is to and from home. However, for our special children, daycare is home. It is a place that they go where they feel safe and have a bond of trust and love with their provider, who has been specially trained to care for them, even if that person is just their grandma. They are given this transportation right because they are not of able body or mind to walk, ride the general education bus, or even care for themselves. As parents of severely disabled children, we are only able to work, care for our other children's needs, and perform daily functions because of our very special daycare providers. They are truly special and irreplaceable. So, Mrs. Superintendent, I may only have 3 minutes of your time tonight, but I hope that in your heart and your mind and rumored love for special ed children, that this forces you to give Casey and the other MJUSD children like her more of your time to rethink the decision and reverse your transportation restrictions.
I'm sorry.
And to the board,
I'm sorry, we're going to have to cut you off. It's 3 minutes.
if this restriction was made without your knowledge, then I ask that you too
Thank you. Angela Siegel.
Sorry. So it's kind of ironic that Ms. Ligorio came and did a really amazing presentation on our Boga, now TK8 school. You got to see a lot of an idea of this beautiful, shiny new gem of expansion that we had done. And I know I appreciate Mr. Davis and Ms. Osrani coming in and visiting us. But I also want to take a minute to peel back the layers of this expansion with the first couple of weeks in school in mind. I do understand that there are some things that are absolutely out of our control, but these issues are not what I'm referring to today. Classes at Arboga, the middle school portion, have been in session for 9 days now. In that first week, we had to attempt to teach with no curriculum and no technology. Our classrooms are surrounded with boxes from floor to ceiling because our cabinets still have not been installed. You heard her mention from her 728 that the buildings have not been signed over, and our cabinetry cannot be put in until it's signed over. That's almost a month now. We're lucky to get our trash dumped nightly, but I'm pretty sure that most of our brand new carpets have yet to be vacuumed. The size of our campus has grown significantly, and additional personnel should have already been in place there before this year began. Speaking of adequate personnel, on day one, there were 40 sixth grade students in not one, but both of our sixth grade classes. And I'm not saying that they just appeared on our attendance sheets. They were actually physically there in our classrooms, wall-to-wall students in those sixth grade classrooms. Good thing we didn't have cabinets. Anyway, I'm aware of the 10-day time frame that the district had to balance those class numbers, but that new class should have been added to our site right away. Now it's all water under the bridge. We're getting that class. Hopefully it will be open by Thursday so that our sixth grade teachers can actually begin teaching these pre-adolescent students. While we're on the topic of adding a new sixth grade class, I feel the need to bring up one more detail I believe the district has not considered. At our bogus school, there's going to be now an additional sixth grade class, which makes a total of 5, 6, and 7th grade sections, and each of these sections require a period of PE. In the middle school day, the PE teacher's new schedule will now include 5 middle school PE periods and 1 prep period. This situation now results in the PE teacher only being able to spend 45 minutes a day, 33 on minimum days, on the elementary side to provide service for almost 400 elementary students, and that doesn't even include TK or K.
I'm sorry. Only 3
Already
minutes.
over. So, please make sure that your staff is adequately. We need teachers in our classrooms. We don't need more positions in this district.
Thank you. Ms. Siegel.
So Angela Stiegel, yet again, president for the Teachers Union. I just had a sneaking suspicion when I was sitting in my classroom at 5:22 this evening that after I gave the board my presentation, that there would be glowing comments about how wonderful everything was and that really everything I had to say was just a bunch of garbage and hooey, and I was correct. And so as one last piece of information this evening, we heard a whole lot about how we've been looking at numbers since August 11th. That's the first day of school. Maybe we should consider looking at numbers before that, especially if you consider the fact that my contract, the teachers union contract with the district, says that a unit member to be involuntarily transferred or reassigned shall be given the reasons in writing for the impending transfer or reassignment 10 working days before the end of the school year. Exceptions may be made to this timeline if there are changes in district enrollment, which I've already pointed out, we didn't have any big, huge changes in district enrollment, or there are changes in staffing patterns, haven't seen that either, or district budget, most definitively not, only to the good, or district articulated need. The district articulated need is the fact that we couldn't even manage the basic concept with running our school district that we have some of our numbers together for enrollment before the first day of school. And that then is now visited upon not 2% of my teachers, but 3%. Maybe an English teacher, but I can manage simple math. We didn't have 10 transfers. We didn't have 11 transfers. We've had at least 14 involuntary transfers and reassignments since the first day of school. 3%, actually a little over. And by the way, if you want to do some more math, 3% of our students at this point, oh, that's only 306 students. So I don't know who is going to tell those 306 that they don't matter enough or that, that's only 3%. Good luck telling their parents that they're only 3%. So please don't patronize me by telling me that my teachers, it's only 3% of them. It's patronizing, it's disrespectful, it's degrading. And on top of that, I do believe we also had a question. And what's interesting is that after looking at data, supposedly numbers from the first day of school, that question couldn't be answered right off the top of somebody's head, because it took me about 90 seconds to come up with it, and I haven't been looking at it every day. Mr. Rasmussen, you had a question. Question was, do we know what the numbers were on the first day of school and what they are now? First day of school for elementary, 4,226 students. Today, 5,445. But thank God we didn't hire any more teachers for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Liz Cervantes? Okay. Stephanie McKay? Meeting adjourned.
Yuba-Sutter.live's local government live streams are presented by Plumas Lake Self-Storage in Plumas Lake, where lifelong local residents are helping other residents keep things safe, providing indoor storage units, outdoor RV and vehicle parking, moving supplies, and Penske truck rentals. Details at plumaslakeselfstorage.com. Skip's Marysville Music Cafe, with lessons in person and personalized. Instruments including guitars and amps, horns, strings for instruments, and a myriad of music and sound equipment. Skip's Marysville Music Cafe.